Hi, here for day 5 of self-portrait drawing. We're looking kind of alien here, so hopefully today is a great day to begin to look more human. We're going to be adding eyebrows, ears, and neck and shoulders onto our face, so that should help with all of that. Okay, so let's start with our ears. We have to have our eyes and our nose in order to get our ears onto our face because we use those dimensions. So the top of our eye, generally, to the bottom of our nose is how long our ears are, which seems long, but that's true. When I look at my own ears, they actually stretch a little bit further. I must have big ears, but they do say that big ears means that you have good intelligence. So, all right, so we're going to put our ears in there, and they're going to stretch that far. Our ears are going to overlap and connect into our face. So I'm going to start over here, like that far, and I'm going to wrap it around and come out. And I'm going to stay closer to my face. That's pretty far out there. So that's going to come out, and I can look at my ear. My ear comes out and just kind of swoops back in like that. Some people have a disconnected earlobe, so you will really see the earlobe like that. Some people go straight in like that. So check your own ears and see what they look like, but mine kind of swoop down like that. And I'm going to do the same thing to this side, overlapping. And I'm going to come out and come back in. All right, so I've got the base of my ears on there. So now I need to put the details. So the first thing I always do is when I look at my ear, it's got this little flap here. So I'm going to put that on here, on the ear, by coming around and down. So I'm going to do the same thing to this side, like so. And I'm going to erase where it is not seen. And I'm going to add some value right underneath that. Okay, so I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to add some value right underneath that, like so. Take my blending stump and blend it out. And that's going to create the illusion that there is depth there. All right, so then I'm going to put the details of my ears. So when I look at my ear, this area right here that's hollowed out so that we can hear, and this little flap we will see. So I always draw that area, looking at what I see that comes out and then goes back in. And I draw that area first, thinking about my earlobe and how that hits. And this is going to be a sort of triangle coming in. Okay, you're really going to want to look at your own ears when looking at this because everyone's is going to look a little different. So then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. This comes out, and I've got my triangle jutting in, and I've got kind of a vacant area there. So then I'm just going to fill that in because that's dark. And blend it out with my blending stump. And then I also have some details up here. So right here, I have a line that comes up like so. And this is actually going to be lighter right here underneath that. Blend that out. And the last thing I'm going to do is add the things that I have on my ears. I have quite a few details on my ears, so I'm just going to add in earrings. And I've got a cuff coming around, so it's going to look like it's wrapping around. like so. I've got a star earring. Which I might want to work on later. I've got another one that wraps around the back of my ear. And last but not least, I've got my actual earring, my big face, which I will work on later, but I'm just going to put it on there. Okay, so that's what I have. You might not have that much going on, but you will, if you have anything, put that in right now. There's my star, here's my thing that wraps around, and my bigger earring. Okay, so now I've got the ears, making sure that this area is really light. I want to keep that light and sticking out. And then I'm going to work on my neck. So as a general rule, our necks, if we use our pencil and go across, where it hits on your face, straight out from your lips, that's how wide your neck is. Because some people tend to make necks really wide or make necks like almost like a string bean, like they're really, really thin, bobblehead sort of thing. So if I were to do that, my neck would come straight out from here and go down. But I'm going to look in the mirror. When I look at mine, this is where my neck hits, right here. And as you can see, it's a little bit below that, my lips. So for me personally, I would probably put my neck starting there so that it will look like me. So I'm just going to kind of curve the neck down like so, and then I'm just going to put generic shirt with a U and then some curved shoulders that go off the edge. Later, you guys will be personalizing these by putting something that you want to be wearing on there. All right, so once again, we're flat, so we need to make some depth in our neck. So our chin casts a shadow onto our neck, and that creates depth. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to add some value underneath there. Blend it out with my blending stump. Too much gets a little crazy, so be careful. We don't have really harsh, dark lines on our neck, so be careful with that. Okay, and then when we shaded a cylinder, we went from dark to light to dark again, and that's what's going to create that circle looking thing, which our neck is kind of a cylinder. So I'm going to go dark to light to dark again. And just shade that out, blend that out with my blending stump. And some people have really defined Adam's apples. And so if you have that, a really defined Adam's apple, you might add that in right here, right? I wouldn't say, well, I wouldn't say I do. So generally, female necks don't have that, but sometimes. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that because I don't have that. And also, when shading, you're going to be shading things that look three-dimensional, which we'll talk about clothes later. But shade it the way you see it, right? So it's darker here underneath this, and it's darker usually on your shoulders. So I'm going to add some depth just on my shoulders here and blend it down. But you'll probably want to change that later when you go to actually make your clothing. But we'll just put a little starter on there. Okay, so last thing is our eyebrows. So for today, when when we make our eyebrows, we're going to be looking at the shape of our eyebrows and the placement. The placement is right above. This is what's great. We already made this dark area that's right here. We already made that. So our eyebrows are just going to kind of sit right on that area. So I'm going to flip it over and show you. And you might want to do this too to practice. I always start with 2 ovals because I think of a wider oval here for this part of my eyebrow and a thinner oval here. And what this is going to do is also create that arch for you. Okay, so when I look at my eyebrows, I'm going to have an oval that's wider and an oval that's thinner. And they're going to kind of create that illusion of that arch. There went my lights again. Okay. All right, so I'm going to then lightly, because I don't want to make a dark area around my eyebrow, I'm going to lightly sketch in the shape of that eyebrow. And now you can see I've got a nice arch going when I put those 2 together. Okay, so once you get the hang of drawing eyebrows, you can then put them, and I would think about where they're hitting. So mine are hitting my face about right there. Okay, and then I've got my wider oval and my thinner oval. And that one got a little crazy. Wider oval and the thinner oval. And that looks kind of strange, but I'm going to then connect it all together and make the base of my eyebrow. All right, so eyebrows are not filled in. A lot of, especially little kids, like to color them in really dark. Like, oh, there's my eyebrow. That is very harsh. And actually, if you feel your eyebrows, they are tiny little hairs. So you don't want to do that. I'm just going to erase this so I still see the edge around there, but I don't want it to, I want it to be faint, okay? And I can still see it, but it's barely in there. And then just like our eyelashes, I'm going to use those tiny lines and fill in going at the direction your eyebrows actually go. So they kind of curve around. Once again, too perfect, it's not going to look real because we don't have extremely perfect eyebrows. You can see I made a line under there, so I'm just gonna blend that out and do the other side. And I might have some that stick up, kind of go haywire. Blend it out again. All right. Starting to look a little more human. I think the last thing we will talk about is clothes during this, and you'll have some time to, oh, I also kind of blend in my eyebrows, sorry. That kind of makes them fill in a little bit better. Okay, last thing is clothes. So I don't want you to just draw the clothes right on here. I want it to look like it's sitting on you. So it's not like this is a painted on shirt. It's got to come off of my body a little bit, okay? So if I were drawing this t-shirt that I am wearing right now, first of all, my neck would come out to here. And I would need to draw this overlapping a little bit. So it's going to overlap up like this. and it's going up off of my shoulder, and then it's going to come around and make the neck of the shirt. So this one's going to do the same thing. It's going to wrap up and wrap around. So it's not just sitting flat. And then it will come down on the edge like that. So now it looks like a 3D shirt, like it's sitting on my body, okay? And so then I would shade it the way I see it. I see it shaded down here. And then I see some lines. So I would really want to put in the details that I'm seeing in this shirt so that it looks real. So I have a few examples here. This is wearing a sweater over top, so I've got multiple layers. You can see they're sitting and overlapping over top of each other. This girl, I think, was wearing like overalls, so they're kind of overlapping. There's a t-shirt. I know I have some. This person's wearing like one of those zip-up jackets. I know I have some like hoodies somewhere. So what you might want to do is look at what you're wearing and draw what you're wearing, or you might want to can't find my hoodies anywhere. But you might want to look up a hoodie or something and draw it from what you're seeing. Okay? So take some time, work on your clothes so they look three-dimensional and look really good.